Disclaimer. The Joe Mobley Show aims to be suitable for all viewers. However, mature topics are discussed. Minors should always obtain a parent's permission before viewing. Families are encouraged to watch together and engage in meaningful follow-up conversations. While the content provided is for informational and entertainment purposes only, it is not intended as professional advice or services. This show does not constitute medical, legal, financial, relationship, or other professional advice. If you require assistance in any of those areas, please consult with a qualified professional. Some viewers might find information, opinions, and terminology used offensive. The Joe Mobley Show is not intended to offend, but rather to inform and entertain. We do not seek to intentionally offend. However, we do scrutinize various events, ideologies, and opinions through a particular worldview. The thoughts, opinions, and beliefs of any host, personality, or guest of the show are solely representative of the individual espousing them and do not represent the Joe Mobley Show or any other individual, organization, company, or group. No one is making you watch or listen. So, there's that.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully I'm unmuted. There we go. I am unmuted. Good evening to Scott W. on Rumble, enjoying the music. Awesome. That's that attribution-free music from Toontank. So, very affordable license. I think it's Toontank. Let's see here. Music. Yeah. It's Toontank for sure. Outspoken Samantha, how are you?
Good. Just running a little bit late. I was sitting down to turn everything on and my daughter came running in and she was like screaming about a tooth that's supposed to come out. So she's in the bathroom right next to me trying to pull a tooth out. So if you hear like a blood curdling scream, it's totally fine. Like that's normal.
Oh no, there's got to be a celebration. My kids are nuts with it's almost like they're pulling the teeth out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that's what's going on behind me right now. We're just keeping it real. It's fine.
Yes. I love it. Welcome into Wendy Wild over on Rumble. Yes, you finally caught the live. And you're going to be on the show before too long. We'll make it happen. We've got the usual band of suspects on YouTube. Seriously, Shelby. Glad to see you. Woody Johnson, just hilarious name. Not as good as Beaten Cheeks, but Woody Johnson, hilarious name. Mr. Boulay, good to see you. Let's just be honest. I'm one of a few people who are black people who can read the word numismatics, but that's all right. And interesting to have.
I'm impressed.
I am a little bit of a numismaticist myself. Anyway, how are things in your world? How are things out in Texas? In the non-flooded parts of Texas?
Are there flooded parts of Texas right now?
Oh, I thought they were. You guys didn't get Helene over there?
Well, I mean, I really haven't been paying attention. No, I mean, I'm in Fort Worth, so I'm not near where anywhere would ever be flooded.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if the DFW area is flooded, like the hundreds of thousands of people have perished.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know what our government would do? They would say, too bad, we sent all of our money to Ukraine. We can't use any of the helicopters. And we sent it to Ukraine, or we sent the helicopters to the Taliban. So you guys are just SOL.
Yeah. Or they'd say, sorry, we spent all of the money, housing illegal immigrants and making sure that they were taken care of. So
yep.
Sorry, guys. Here's $750. Good luck.
Yeah, that really moves the needle. It doesn't. It's freaking ridiculous.
Especially when like your entire house has like floated away with everything in it. Can
I just say, the people who were making content TikToks and IG reels while their house was floating down a new river or while their house was filling up with water, can I just say there is something wrong? If natural selection were really like enforced, those people would not be with us.
Yeah.
I
mean, obviously, I have never been in that situation, so I can't imagine. But I really don't think that it would even cross my mind to bust my phone out and start filming.
No,
Like,
not a
and
chance.
I mean, I admit I have a problem. Like, I really have my phone in my hand far too often. But I think even for me, I would have to draw the line there. So, this apocalyptic event happening right in front of me and my house is floating away and people are dying and screaming. And I just wouldn't think to get my phone out and watch it all unfold.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I am still sick courtesy of the plague that is visiting my house and has plagued all of my children now. 5 for 5. They are all down. 2 of them down hard. And Eliza finally got it, I think, day before yesterday. And my sleepless night last night cleaning up, throw up and things, I was like, probably going to get sick. And I woke up with the sickness. So that's fun deal with. Yeah, there might be a large amount of Samantha talk tonight. And that's okay because we love outspoken Samantha.
Awesome. I will do my best.
Kind of goes right into our first topic. So I bet the screen is on the wrong thing. Here, let's take a look. Oh, it's on the right thing. I guess I owe myself money. Guys, if you aren't subscribed to Outspoken Samantha's channel, then you are a terrible person. No, just kidding. No, go over, subscribe to her channel. It is linked below. We've got her Facebook, her X, her Rumble, all the things. Go and check out her content. And we're actually talking about this video of yours that it's not showing, but is going viral right as we speak with, holy moly, okay, this is ridiculous. I looked at this. I looked at this several hours ago. What in the world? let me, I'll pull that up later. Anyway, am I crazy? This was just like 60,000 not a long time ago. Over 110,000 views on this video. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really good. I watched it twice. I guess I watched it 2.5 times because I'm stuck in the middle.
So like a quarter of the views actually came from you.
2.5 of the views came from me. I watched it for my personal entertainment one. And then I was like, we got to cover this on the show. So then I watched it with like a discerning ear to learn the material. And I don't know why I went another quarter into it. Who knows? I have no idea. But anyway, guys, go check that video out. It's JD Vance threatened with arrest by the Primanti Brothers. So talk to us about this.
Well, it was just kind of a wild story that, of course, I think it was on Saturday, where all of these videos about what was happening at this restaurant in Pennsylvania, JD Vance showing up, people saying that they were being kicked out, saying that he was going to get arrested. And I'm just seeing all these videos flood across social media. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So it kind of opened up more layers and more layers and more layers. So I guess what happened, from what I can tell, this restaurant, though they claimed to not have been given any advance notice about JD Vance showing up to meet these people, these supporters, about it, being this campaign event. They say that they had no notice, that they weren't contacted, but all of these people say that they showed up at least an hour in advance to get their food, to, get ready for him to show up. So I'm like, well, if they knew, clearly the restaurant would know. And somebody in the comments of my video also pointed out, like, the Secret Service would have like contacted the restaurant ahead of time, and probably some eyes on the area in general. So, I mean, this isn't something where you just like show up with the potential vice president of the United States. So the idea that they didn't know is BS to me. But so JD Vance shows up. I guess the manager of the restaurant comes running out and tells him if he gets out of the car, they're going to call the police. And people kept saying that the manager then kicked out all of the people that were in the restaurant that were there to meet JD Vance. I really didn't get a lot of clarity on that, but that's what they were saying. So they all went out into the parking lot.
I mean,
JD
they were
Vance, I guess.
probably like all MAGA'd out in there.
Well, yeah, one guy said that some of them were dressed as Trump supporters, others were just dressed normally. So I guess if you dress like a Trump supporter, you don't dress normally. But so all of these people got upset. They canceled their food orders. They went outside. JD Vance, I guess, was going to arrange another time to meet these people, started getting everybody's information so that they could reach out the next time they were in the area. And eventually he just said, screw it. So he got out of the car and I guess, he started meeting with people, talking to them and whatnot. And then he went into the restaurant and paid for everybody's food and said no tax on tips to the manager as, he paid for their food. So I thought that was like kind of the end of the story. And then a few other things came out that a Primanti Brothers location in a county over from them had hosted Kamala Harris the month before, just a few weeks ago. Not only that, they kicked everybody out of the dining room at like 4:00 on a Saturday. Nobody had any advance notice. They kicked everybody out and everybody went outside and saw they had, I don't know if people knew in advance that she was going to show up. They may have because they had all their signs outside supporting Trump. But she had all of these vans following her, several of them full of people, so that she could stage this event with her own supporters. And so every photo that we see of her in this Primanti Brothers is because they literally shipped in their own supporters, which is insane to me. But the story didn't end there either.
They always do that.
It's wild. It's so wild. So then the story doesn't end there either. So then Primanti Brothers issued this statement on Twitter saying this was just a misunderstanding. We didn't know he was coming. Everybody is welcome in our establishment, which is BS. But then Laura Loomer did some digging and found out that the wife of the CEO over this franchise is like this radical leftist, like I think she's a therapist or a psychiatrist in the area that supports gender affirming care for children, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, these really young kids. And that's kind of, her work, at least part of her work. She's this, she hates Trump, hates Vance, and she has supported every radical left-wing cause. So, so while we were all thinking that this manager that came out and just told Vance he couldn't come into the restaurant, she had actually gone in and called corporate headquarters and said, what do I do? And they told her that he was banned from the establishment. And then, who knows how they decided to put out the statement saying that everything was fine. But the idea that this wasn't politically motivated is completely ridiculous. And I think it really was just a matter of, we don't want this man in there, and all of his supporters can basically pound sand. So that was basically the entire story.
So many stories in there. So much fake. I don't even know which fake news thing to pull on first. Obviously, the restaurant management knew they were coming. Number one, there was an advance team. Not just the Secret Service there. Secret Service went days or weeks, probably both, in advance and said, hey, we're Secret Service. Here are our credentials. We're checking things out for when the front runner for Vice President of the United States comes through. JD Vance, have you heard of him? Steely Blue, right. Old Blue Steel. And yeah. And then they would have come in again probably before his vehicle got there. And I think it looked like that. Actually, I think you talked about that in your video. So that's just a flat out lie. And the people, there would have been emails. Some people would have even printed out things and handed them out, like in the public square, in the markets. I did the same thing when Glenn Youngkin came to the Leesburg Diner on King Street in historic Leesburg. It's like a big deal, and it's a pain in the butt. You got to park super far away, and you got to walk, and roads are closed. It's just, this is such a lie. The staff would have, the management would have needed to told the staff, hey guys, you're going to need to get here super early, or you're going to need to park a good ways away to even get here.
Mm-hmm.
Just lies. I heard reports that some of the staff quit because of this. Have you seen this? If that's true or not?
I haven't heard what I mean, at the time that people were recording and they were saying that everybody was canceling their orders, somebody said that the kitchen staff walked out. Now, I didn't know if that was because everything was just kind of getting chaotic and everybody was canceling their food and they're just like, we don't want to be a part of this, or if it was like a walkout in as in like we quit. So I have no idea. And I haven't heard anything since then. And people keep asking in the video, like, please update us if this franchise goes out of business. But I don't know. I haven't heard. But
This is
yeah.
ridiculous. I've heard that the Harris campaign has done the, not necessarily with the white vans, but I'll say the white van thing before, where they've brought in their little actors. And it cracks me up because usually it's enough to just bring in your people, bring in your plants. But the reason they need to push everyone out, to get everyone who's not part of the charade out of the restaurant, is because she'll get booed. Is because people will be bringing up unsavory things like border, like crime, like drugs, fentanyl, gangs taking over cities. This was your responsibility, like Ukraine, like the economy, like the fact that it's a miracle that we're in a restaurant. This is the one time a year we must be celebrating something great because eggs cost $8 and gas is $5 a gallon, and on and on and on. So they're like, we can't have any civilians in here. We got to have actors.
Right.
It's freaking hilarious.
I know. And I mean, I guess I can understand to a point kind of fielding the guests beforehand. I mean, you want to, I don't know what that would look like, but I get that, or at least like identifying specific people that you want to approach beforehand, especially when you are somebody that is as unpopular as Kamala Harris, and she has such a significantly higher chance of running into somebody that is going to confront her about one of her many failures. So I guess I can understand that to a point, but she's so unpopular to the point where she can't risk having even one person in there, because one person that does not support her in her presence is going to be like, I have a few questions. We need to talk about the border. We need to talk about fentanyl. We need to talk about inflation. Like, you know, even one person probably wouldn't be able to keep their mouth shut. So they just couldn't risk any confrontation whatsoever.
Just how stupid do they think everyone is? Like, guys,
they think everybody's stupid.
Yeah. These are campaigns. Like, a campaign is a thing. It's a whole industry. It's a whole profession. And you think that they're not coordinating for maximum impact every moment of every day of a campaign? Like, it's so insulting. It's insulting that the media thinks that they can lie to people and say, oh, this was totally ad hoc and no one had. That's just not true. It's not 1960. Nothing that isn't highly scripted, coordinated, different camera angles. They probably, Trump's campaign and Kamala's campaign, they probably have a certain number of people to record vertical videos like this so that they've got those organic looking social media things. It's fine. It's not lying. It's a campaign. It's what campaigns are propagandistic. Is that a word?
Sure.
Yeah, they're propaganda tools. It's supposed to be. It's a campaign. This is how great we are and better than the other people. Mm-hmm. And the same from the other side of the house. But they get caught in these lies, and then they have to do this media spin, and they have to get the social media. Oh, ask Taylor Swift to do a tweet and post a reel about. It's insulting. And what's infuriating is over half of the population, and even some right-thinking people, it works on you. Mm-hmm. We need to do better.
Well, and that's I think the whole point is that the reason they know that they can get away with this stuff is because we are so dumb as a population. Like, I mean, I don't want to insult, but we, like, as overall in general as a population, we have become significantly stupider, like just more stupid. Like, it just, our intelligence as a whole overall has plummeted. So they know that they can do this stuff and get away with it and not care. And I mean, aside from this little stunt, I mean, how many lies has Kamala Harris been caught in and Tim Walz been caught in, and how many just
I stopped
blatant, like
counting.
egregious lies? And during the Trump administration, we heard nonstop about how much he just lies nonstop, and he just lies and lies. And even now, people are like, he's such a liar. And it's like, stop pretending that you care about being lied to. Like, you don't care how fake this is. You don't care how much of her campaign is completely made up. You don't care if she's telling the truth. You don't care how many times she's fact checked. You don't care that Tim Walz is lying about serving in Afghanistan, or that his son, witnessed a school shooting, which he didn't, or a community center shooting, which he didn't, or, that he was pretended to
What
be
are
in
you
Tiananmen Square
talking
when he
about?
didn't. Like,
He's
and
making
those are
friends with school
egregious.
shooters.
Yeah, and these are egregious. Yeah, I know. And these are horrible lies. And it's like, stop pretending that you care, because nothing about this campaign is real. It's all fake. So, but they know they can get away with it because people are still going to vote for them because we're stupid.
Well, what do you think about the campaign? Do you think that the polls keep steadily increasing in Biden, in Trump's favor? And you have a rosier outlook on elections. So what do you think is going to happen? And what are we,
I don't know.
37 days?
I don't know that my outlook is really that rosy. I mean, when you say that my outlook is rosier than yours, I mean, that's a pretty low bar. So
I will say, straight up, just anecdotally, I've seen more. I live in Loudoun County, Woke, Virginia. I've seen more Kamala or Harris Walz paraphernalia than I ever saw Biden Harris. And that's because Biden Harris, they didn't run a campaign. They just didn't campaign at all.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel a little bit nervous. And Virginia's purple and leans a little left. But there's definitely more Harris energy where I am than there was Biden energy. So.
That's just so frustrating. I mean, I really honestly, in the area that I'm in, haven't seen a lot of political signs like Trump, or the only sign I
Texans are
have
fresh
seen,
out.
yeah, we're
Texans are
just yeah, they're like, if we put up Trump signs, that's all you would see is just this sea of Trump signs. I've seen one sign, and it has been a Harris Walz sign. And it's honestly when I drive my kids to school in the morning, we drive down this road and it comes to a T and you have to turn or you're going to run straight into this house. And every morning I'm just so tempted to just go straight through it, straight through that Harris Walz sign. But I won't. Everybody calm down. It's just, I don't know. As far as the polls, I don't know what to believe because I just don't trust the people running the polls. So, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I am so disappointed in people because honestly, and if I'm talking too much, you can tell me, but I feel like
I think you're doing great. I'm drinking my peach detox tea and
I'm trying to carry it for us tonight. I had so much hope. I mean, when Biden got into office, of course, we knew things were going to get bad, and they have been horrendous. But that as things progressively got worse, that people would see hey, this isn't working out for us. Hey, we were sold a lot of lies. This administration doesn't care about us. This administration consistently puts everybody else on planet Earth before us. And people are suffering on every single level. There isn't an aspect of American life that isn't in total crisis right now. And I figured if they had to live even just in a little bit of hell for a little while, that people would be like, okay, I may not like the mean tweets or the brashness of Trump, but there are things that are worse than that, like not being able to feed my family or, worrying about being murdered by somebody coming over the border or whatever it is. I thought that more people would have a line, and it's just baffling to see that that's not true for so many people. And I'm like, how far do we have to go? Or do we really just have to fall off the cliff and totally burn? And even then they would still blame us or blame Trump. So it's frustrating to see, that's for sure.
All right. We got to talk about this guy. Can I just say,
Yeah.
my favorite part of the debate is not the debate, it's the memes. My favorite part of this whole thing is the memes, bar
Yep.
none. I've talked a lot about the debate on the night of the debate earlier this morning with Grid One, an unreasonable man. Man, I hate this this like cheese grater feeling in the throat when you're sick. Anyways, what were your thoughts about the debate?
You know, it was good. I mean, I think I probably have the same opinion of it than that everybody did. Like, it went really, really well, and I was cautiously optimistic because you just never know what's going to come out of the left. Like, we knew that Tim Walz was going to have backup. We knew that he was going to have the support of the moderators. And when it's 3-on-1, even when you're somebody that is as smart and articulate and as controlled as JD Vance is, you just never know what's going to happen. So it's like, we know that he's a good debater. We know that he is educated and he knows how to stick to the topic and stay in control of his temper. He doesn't have a temper. Stay in control of his emotions.
Yeah.
He has everything going for him for a good debate. But when it comes to the left, you just never know what punches they're going to pull. So I was nervous, but he did an amazing job.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally
And then there
agree.
were Tim
And then there was Tampon Tim.
Oh my gosh. What was the thought process behind picking him as the VP running? I mean, I honestly think that they were like, Kamala is really stupid. So we have to have somebody who's dumber than she is. We can't have somebody that is more articulate. I don't know. Because I don't understand how this man ended up on the ticket.
They went for it's the opposite of personification. What is it when a cartoon becomes real life? Well, not the other way around. They went for that, make the bumbling, dumb dad, goofy white guy from a cartoon come to life, like the opposite of personification. And they nailed it. But what they didn't do, this is so irresponsible of the left. And they've got all background information at the click of a button. They don't have to do FOIA requests. They just have to, a Clinton or an Obama is just like, hey, give me what you got on these 5 people. And they get dossiers back immediately. They probably already have them made because we live in a creepy surveillance state. They should have known about his lies about his military history because it's all over the place in his public statements. Very disingenuous thing to do. They should have known that that was not going to rub voters the right way. They should have known about his weird family. They should have known that his family were apparently Trump supporters. So
Yeah.
that's a dangerous choice. And what's the other thing? They should have known about this China stuff. This China stuff is outrageous. He's a Chinophile. Is that a word? He's obsessed with China. He's obsessed with the CCP. He would probably like to get in the tank in Tiananmen Square and mow someone down himself on like the 100-year anniversary. It's irresponsible.
Well, and I think that speaks to the point that we were China. I think that speaks to the China. To the point that I was making before, that people don't care. Like, he can lie that badly and people don't care. I can't think of any other reason because, I mean, they definitely didn't attempt to do any kind of damage control beforehand or coach him on, hey, we're aware that you've pretty much lied about every single thing in your entire life. This is how we need to approach this publicly. Like, they did none of that work. And again, that means they know people don't care that he's a pathological liar.
I just got to tell you, Reality Pocket says, Samantha, you need to do your live on Rumble too. Why aren't you live on Rum?
Because I haven't figured out how to do it.
Never mind. We take this down.
I don't know. I don't know how to live stream on Rumble.
I gotta shut this meme off. These guys are like, it feels like they're getting closer to me. This is still going on. It's been going on the whole time. It's fair, and it just makes me feel like someone's about to like punch me in the face. Let's
awesome.
just click on something else. I wanted to say something else about the debate, and I forgot. Oh, the moderators performed okay. They performed okay. I have a special place of hate in my heart for Nora, but anyway, it was interesting. Oh, I had the thought and then I lost it. I was thinking about freaking Nora O'Donnell. They said
we have a lot to get to.
I can't remember at all. Oh, did you notice this? I said this on the live react, but they were setting Vance up to be lying technically, no matter how he answered a question. And the way that they did it, it was very clever. I caught it live. What is his name? Dry Fire or Fire Set caught it live as well. They would say, the Constitution, one of them was something like, the Constitution gives the power of the purse to Congress, and Donald Trump allegedly sleeps with monkeys. Do you agree? And they would group an obvious falsehood with something that was obviously true, so he would have to refute it. And I was like, these are going to be clips. And surprise, surprise, those are clips. Those are some of the talking points in the article. In articles by mainstream media saying things like, the Trump campaign or JD Vance doesn't believe in the Constitution, wants to take away the power of Congress over the budget. And it's like, no, they asked the questions in such an unexcusable manner with something that was obviously true. George Washington was the first president of the United States, but Donald Trump embezzled $10 million. Like that kind of, I'm exaggerating, but that was the kind of question they were asking, which is like nuts. And then, of course, they mostly asked Tim Pon really simple questions, but credit where credit is due. When they asked him about lying about China, and he said, I was born in a middle-class family for 5 minutes, they came back and said, but can you answer the question about lying about China? Which he did not.
Yeah. I didn't think that they were going to push back on that. I don't think he thought they were going to push back on that.
I think that's why he looked so nervous, because he was like, oh, the mods aren't 1,000% on my side. Yeah,
exactly. Well, and as I said in my live stream as well that I think the reason he did that, where, they ask him this question and then he dives into this whole thing about his background and how he grew up and riding a bike and all, we're like, because he's seen Kamala Harris get away with it over and over and over again. It's like you ask her a serious question about anything and she's like, well, I grew up in a middle-class family. And it's like, I don't care. But so I think he thought that was going to be sufficient, that they weren't going to push back because that has worked so many times for her. But it is just really funny to see him almost try to be Kamala Harris as like an old chubby white dude. Like it just didn't work for him. Well, it doesn't really work for her either, but it really didn't work for him. But it was funny. I saw on, and I don't know if you've seen this, RFK Jr., he did a speech where basically he said, if anybody ever asks you a question, you only need to know like 7 words. And he says, you always respond with, I grew up in a middle-class family.
I didn't see that. I've seen some of the memes of like Putin saying it or like Hitler saying it. Like, hey, well, why'd you do this terrible thing? Well, or Iran being like, why do you want nuclear weapons? Well, I grew up in a middle-class family, so. Oh, say no more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Excuse me, why are you eating this cat? You grew up in a middle-class family? Oh, carry on. You're fine. Here's another cat. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Why did you lie about being in the middle of a bloody massacre. I grew up in a middle class family.
He kind of snowballed when I said it before, I'll say it again. Walls's first answer was spot on. It was confident. It was the clearest I've ever seen him. And I was like, oh crap, like this guy is going to like stand and deliver. And it lasted for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Because by his first rebuttal, he was gone. He constantly taking notes. JD was just looking at him like, did you not come prepared? This is embarrassing. Yeah. And he's like, this is the difference between a Marine who's actually deployed and a fake sergeant major. Like everything that's happening right before everyone's eyes. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, I actually saw a gal on TikTok saying that. Did you guys notice that Tim Walz was taking a lot of notes and Kamala Harris during her debate was taking a lot of notes? And to me, that's like a really big sign of intelligence when you sit down and you're listening and you're writing. And it's like he was taking notes the whole time and he still fumbled. And he still he called himself a knucklehead. Like, that's not a sign of intelligence. I mean, JD Vance just sat there and listened. And I loved how every single time they tried to steer him away from responding directly to Tim Walz.
Yeah.
He just stepped in and he's like, I'll get to that in a second, but I want to respond to everything Tim Walz just said. So they couldn't force him in any particular direction. He was just like, I have no problem answering that question, but first we need to address the load of crap that this guy just dumped on the middle of the stage.
That's the real sign of intelligence, because Vance would, if I'm going to break out my paper in a debate, it's only because I can feel it's like there's a disturbance in the force. I know that there's flaw with the argument, but I can't put it together in my mind. So I'll just write it down as a tiny little map or image real quick. That's the only time that I break out. You should not be trying to use new material in a debate. You should be using material that you've studied, that you've spoken about, that you've said the words in this way before. So it's normally a bad sign to need to take copious notes during a debate. A real sign of intelligence, JD Vance, when he heard something, he would kind of turn his head or close his eyes or like look up off camera, and then he'd like figure it out and kind of nod his head. And you could see just the body language of it all. You could see Walz getting uncomfortable. Like, I'm lying. Oh, shoot. He hears that I'm lying. Oh, he's putting it together. Oh, and they're going to let him talk. It was like watching a car accident in slow motion.
Well, and it's funny because I think that when somebody is listening that intently and they're not giving you any indication about how much they're absorbing, it's probably really unnerving. Like he didn't have any real like facial expressions except for the which was awesome. That's the only thing he did, but there was no like emotional response. He didn't get heated. I mean, I've talked to people like that where it's like you talk to them and there's no indication about how much they're listening or how much they're getting from you, and you have no idea what they're going to say back. And it's like, did they hear anything or did they literally catch every single syllable?
Yeah. It's one thing if you're talking to like a genius or like someone on the spectrum, you're like, they're getting it. I get it. But obviously that's not the situation with Tim Walz. I don't think JD Vance is a genius, but he does remind me a little bit of Vivek in that he's very fast on his feet. But the interesting thing was he is like, where is he from? Is he like a Southern boy? He was super polite and cordial. He just every moment then leading into his final statement where he's like, look, whether you're voting for me or for Biden or for Harris Walz, you know, I just hope the best for you or whatever he said. Hope the best for the country. Oh, and he said, you know, if this guy wins, I'm going to support him as vice president. He's just a classy dude. It's hard to hate JD Vance. The blue eyes.
I think that Tim Walz probably walked out of there and asked for a MAGA hat. He's like, even I'm a fan of JD Vance now.
Yeah. Oh, he was writing down policy notes for sure. Oh, we should do that. Oh, shoot. We should do that too.
Yeah. I just want to address a comment here. I'm just watching kind of on YouTube here. Someone says the VP debate is just a sideshow. This is from Arma15. The VP debate is just a sideshow. The bottom of the ticket never really determines the outcome. The VP can hurt the top of the ticket. Not decisive, though. Which I agree, but I have been really, and I'm not saying that this is enough of a response to indicate that this is going to have any real impact on the outcome of the election. But I am really surprised at the number. You know what? Just a side note, I have been way too involved in TikTok lately. Like, I have found some rabbit holes. Let me tell you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm like, I need to find better things to do with my time. But I have seen so many people say that the debate was refreshing, that they really enjoyed JD Vance's response. And a lot of people that were like, I'm not a big fan of Trump, but JD Vance really sold me on this ticket. And I love what I've seen so many of those. And like I said, I don't know if it's enough to make any significant difference, but I've been really surprised. And I think a lot of the sentiment is that this showed that we are capable of having civil discussions. And I think, the media, a lot of people have said the media have tried to build JD Vance up to be this weirdo, to be this crazy person, to be, just like Trump 2.0, and just he's no better than Trump. And I think, take it or leave it, but I think he debunked all of that. He showed people that he is reasonable, that he is measured, that he is smart, that he knows what he's talking about, that he's a good leader, that he can handle stress. And I think overall that kind of broke down some barriers about what people think about Trump supporters in general, because the media has just built us up to be, we're all Trump. We are all the big orange bad man. We are all this like dictator. We're all Hitler.
All right. I didn't know if I wanted to talk about that. I'll talk about this while she is gone. All right. I got a question for you guys. Can I still post what is this? Go away. Oh no, they took the article down. Okay. All right. That's fine. It's on my daily tweets. Can I still post my favorite tweet? Because daily tweet reminders. So I'm 11 days into posting this. Very real. Oh, it's not even on the screen. I'm 11 days into posting this very real, very obviously Kamala Harris, not AI, definitely her praising being a diversity hire. Well, the court struck it down. So I kind of have a dilemma. Do I continue to post this brilliant Mr. Reagan Kamala Harris parody ad just as a personal slight against Gavin Newsom? Or do I find something new? Do I find something new for my daily reminder post? And there's a good thing to change it to. I could obviously change it to the totally real Babylon Bee, Gavin Newsom, definitely not AI ad. Or I can continue posting this because we're only 12 days in. And I don't know. So chat, give me some guesses. Imperious. That's not funny. Yeah. Samantha, is it still okay for me to post this daily reminder post of this definitely real, definitely not AI Kamala Harris ad, because the California Court of Appeals just struck it down. They struck down Gavin Newsom's unconstitutional law is obviously unconstitutional. So I feel like, well, I just barely got started posting this. I could change it. I could change it to Babylon Bee's Gavin Newsom ad, but I thought I was going to get at least like 8 months out of this.
Well, I haven't seen this one in particular. So the law that was struck down, are you talking about the one where he was trying to say you couldn't post parody ads in California or something like that?
Yep.
Okay. I hadn't heard what the outcome of that particular law was, but
it got struck down yesterday or today.
Okay.
And I was like, crap.
I'm not surprised.
It was illegal.
Huh?
It was illegal.
Yeah, what did he think was going to happen? Well, I was thinking before because, Kamala Harris, everything that she does is fake anyway. Like, she buses in her own supporters, her campaign events, like nothing is real. So it's like, can it be like illegal for like candidates to entirely like make their real life fake? So, I mean, she's not doing
Well,
anything real anyway.
here's fly in the ointment. Fly in the ointment, not only for obvious First Amendment violations of the individual. The courts have ruled that it's okay for law enforcement, for prosecutors, for the criminal justice apparatus to lie in pursuit of evidence and confession or conviction. So they're literally saying it's already established law. It's what is it called? Case law, precedent. That, yeah, the feds can lie to you, the local EOs can lie to you, the prosecutor can lie to you. They can say, we got your DNA, we got you on video. If you're smart and you have an attorney, the attorney will say, great, hand it over and we'll take a look at it and decide, how we want to proceed. But most people, they're left in these rooms. I'm telling you guys, go to a law enforcement academy. Forget doing a ride-along. Go maybe submit yourself as if you wanted to become a police officer just to get into a criminal justice academy somewhere, and you will be blown away by the stuff that they teach law enforcement in the United States. Ways to screw you out of your rights.
That's so sad.
It is. It's ridiculous.
I shouldn't be surprised. And
oh, I think your mic just like, I don't know, matrixed out. Oh, there it goes. She's back.
Yeah, I think I pulled the cord straight out of the bottom of it. So
I do that all the time with my Blue Yeti. So much so, it's not here right now, but I like tape the bottom of it because I don't know if it gets loose or whatever, but that's a really inappropriate joke. It just essentially
No, it's
yeah, it just kind of flopped out of the it just yeah, never mind. You have one, yeah. Reality Pocket, thank you for the subscription over on Rumble. Okay,
No,
okay. God.
Do we have any good comments you're addressing there?
No juicy comments. Walls needs to be in the back of the balcony, or back in the balcony of the Muppet Show. That is a good one. All right, let's move to the next topic, which is, I don't know if you saw this afternoon show because we talked about this there too. Again, guys, said it before, say it again. Not the best topic for little ones. And, if they're here, then proceed at your own risk. Now, we did find out that this chick is not a real doctor. Her whole doctor thing is like nuts. Have you seen this video?
I have seen it going around on social media. I haven't watched it. I haven't clicked on it because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like keep it together.
Well,
but I'm ready.
Consider you're gonna get it. Blessings on blessings. Meet Dr. Lindsey Doe. She's a master following of over 1 million people. She thinks pedophilia is a sexual orientation and wants us to have sympathy for pedophiles. Aww. Let's take a listen.
It's always the eyes.
Girl, wait until her eyes are so open. You can see all of the white around the iris. It's nuts. They're always using new weird words. They tried MAP, minor attracted person. It didn't work out. So now they have VERPED, which is a virtuous pedophile. Two words that I never thought I would hear together. But let's take a listen.
It's short for virtuous pedophiles. Not virtuous as in they're better than everyone because they're attracted to children, but virtuous like having...
Oh, I'm so glad she said that. For a second there, I thought that pedophiles were better than us. Oh, man. I'm so glad that she squared that away.
Moral standards and a sexual orientation that they have no control over, like the rest of us. Before you get all worked up, I'm talking about pedophilia, not child molestation or rape. Pedophilia is the sexual attraction to children. It's a paraphilia. There's a link to more information about it in the description, videos I've made in the past explaining the kind of human diversity and development. Molestation and rape are different. These are abusive actions that often have nothing to do with attraction. Many child abusers are actually sexually attracted to adults, but they act out on children. Meaning you probably don't object to pedophiles because you're compassionate and rational, but you may loathe child molesters and rapists because they violate people. I personally try not to judge either. .org. It's short for virtuous pedophiles. Not pedophiles because you're compassionate and rational, but you object to pedophiles because you're act out on children.
I accidentally hit a button. So here
Act out on children. Meaning you probably
sorry.
don't object to pedophiles because you're compassionate and rational, but you may loathe child molesters and rapists because they violate people. I personally try not to judge either. .org.
Yeah, no, judge either. Look at these eyes.
Oh my gosh.
This is tried and true, guys. Why do they always look like this?
I know. It's the stuff that nightmares are made of. You know,
well, here you have it. What say you about being compassionate to those who are plagued with wanting to get into the pants of little children?
Oh my gosh, stop saying. Every time she even says the words attracted to children, it makes my skin crawl. It makes me want to jump through the screen and strangle her. I have no patience for stuff like compassion isn't even the word. I have no, there's no positive feelings at all towards these people. Like, I don't want to understand how people's brains are wired that way. The only thing I want to know is how do we unwire them? How do we make them like electric shock? I don't know what that looks like. But this kind of thing makes me so angry. And I think what I get, the many things that I get sick of, but one of them is using these biblical terms like virtue, virtuous, things that we are taught, used in our Sunday school lessons, and tying them to the most disgusting actions, behaviors, mindset, whatever you want to call it, and trying to tie those together to make these things more palatable, to make them more acceptable, to persuade us to have compassion for these people. Like,
it's a no. It's a no. It's just a no. The best I can do.
A really long-winded way of saying no.
Yeah, the best I can do. It's compassionate enough that I don't tear your head off. So yeah, other than that, they shouldn't expect any other concessions.
I really hate that she's trying to separate people who act out on others versus the people that just have the mindset. Like, your thoughts lead to your actions.
Yep.
So you have to have, you're not going to have people acting out on children that don't have that mindset already, that don't, that aren't predisposed to that already don't have that weakness. This isn't something that just any normal person is going to do. So there's no separation there. There's no way of making this okay. So it's like, we're going to save our anger and frustration for only those who act out. Only those who act on their feelings, because the people that don't act on it, they're fine, because they're not fine. This is not okay. That's how I feel about that.
I don't know how to feel about it. Oh, let me pull up. I closed it. I had it open in the window earlier, but I closed it. Oh, come on. Oh, what? Did she kill my computer? What the heck just happened? I think Dr. Doe's weird sex stuff just killed my computer. All right.
I was like, and we're frozen.
It's coming back up. The craziest thing, I clicked on her wiki page and then boom, my screen's just like shut off. It was StreamYard all over again. This is why, look, I'm as far right as they come, but apparently I'm super government regulation on smartphones and podcast gear. We're getting to the point, we've hit this critical mass where just anyone shouldn't be able to have a podcast or a YouTube channel. This screen just went off. What is happening to my studio? Who is doing this? Okay. This is why everything's made in freaking China and then screens don't work. This is why there needs to be some kind of regulation over things. Just anyone shouldn't be able to be like, oh, I'm a doctor now. Lindsey Doe is a doctor of sexology. She got her doctor of philosophy in human sexuality from a school that's no longer accredited, and her thesis is on let me get it all out. Phenomenological claim of first sexual intercourse among individuals of varied levels of sexual self-disclosure. Now, I've not read this paper, but it sounds super weird. Can I just say, like, these varied levels of sexual self-disclosure sound super sus. Whether we're talking about STDs, which, why did they change this to STIs? I have no idea. They're just constantly changing them. Whether we're talking about STDs or being born Mike and now being Michelle, I have no idea. But this whole sexual self-disclosure, varied levels thing makes me a little nervous. Now, of course, I married one woman, one man, that kind of thing going on here. But I'm almost afraid. I'm almost afraid to look up this thesis and see what brilliance.
I just want to know, like, how she managed to write this and submit it to people and not get arrested.
I agree.
And we're just like, Dr. Lindsey, we need to check your hard drive.
Yeah. What's your probable cause? They just pull out her thesis. This is our probable cause.
Like, yeah. Look at those eyes. She looks insane.
It's always the eyes. It's
Yep.
always the eyes.
Eyes
All
are the
right.
window to the soul, or lack thereof.
It is always the eyes. So this screen is still off, so I have to pull up the link here. And I guess, I don't know, text it to myself or something. All right, and there we go. Here's the last thing. And Grid, see you in the chat, brother. We talked about this earlier. There is actually a difference. There are some nuances here in the minor attracted persons community. Let's learn about it. Have you seen this one?
I have not.
It's pretty good. Let's
My girlfriend was like, oh, no, we cannot listen to R. Kelly. R. Kelly is a pedophile. And now here's the thing. And just hear me out for 1 second. Technically speaking, R. Kelly is not a pedophile. Just give me 1 second. I promise this goes away. Just hear me out. The term pedophile refers to people who are attracted to those that are prepubescent. Then there's something called a hebophile. That's people who are attracted to those in the early stages of puberty, like 11, 12, 13, 14. And then there's something called an ephebophile. That's people who are attracted to those in the later stages of puberty, like 15, 16, 17, 18. But I think the reason we don't make those distinctions is because it's very hard to explain the difference without sounding like a pedophile. My girlfriend...
Oh, I love this joke.
100%. 100%. It's,
Yeah.
and I mean, you know, when you try to explain it and try and break it down to come up with all of these justifications, as Dr. Lindsey was just trying to do, the more questions that you present about you as a person and your attraction to children, like, you know, I mean, if you have to work so hard to make something so egregious sound acceptable, there's got to be some underlying cause to it that you're really trying to justify and not be judged for.
It's freaking hilarious. The funny thing to maybe I'll turn the screen on and turn it off and turn it back on. The funny thing to me about this is more rooted in fact and logic and science and truth than all of Tim Walz and his talking points and his obfuscation of the fact that Harris has been the vice president for 4 years, there was more truth in this than in someone who's running for vice president. There was more truth in this than someone who has who's the doctor of some kind of weird sex stuff, but supposedly went through all of this learning. And this is almost, by the way, this is almost like normal looking. I guess this is from 2014, but
it?
higher education just did its thing on her. And now we have these big eyes and this, hey guys, you should actually feel sympathy for, you should regard pedophiles as virtuous, and you should feel sympathy for molesters and what's that other word? Whatever kind of creep. It's just like, no. Why is it that a comedy show is more rooted in fact and logic and truth, and you could probably even tease out better theological points from comedy shows? That's how bad our society has gotten. The people coming to save us are the comedians.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a large part of the reason that people like Gavin Newsom target things like parody and humor. And I've actually, I write for the Patriot Post publication. I've done a couple of pieces in the last couple of weeks on this particular piece of legislation. And I think it's because, we use humor because it's rooted in a lot of truth. That's what makes it funny. There's a lot of points in there that you can get people to think about that are rooted in reality and make them laugh about it. But it sticks with them a lot longer. So I think that's why they target things like this, because there's some truth in there. These things are far more factual than, as you said, some of the people in charge.
Yeah. Well, my nose and throat have had enough, and I can't see Rumble chats on this screen, so apologies, guys, but we'll close things out, read some of these comments. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, gosh. It
Okay?
tastes so bad. Yep. Grid 1, I guess this is about the comedy thing, because you can't say the accurate bits outside of comedy without being canceled. And you know what? Half of the time when comedians do it, they try and cancel them too. And the honest comedians are like, I don't give a flying.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So most of my comedy skits are about slavery and how stupid white people are. And it's funny.
Yeah,
and white people aren't stupid, but but white people were the only people in the history of the world to keep records, like a bunch of tax collectors, to keep immaculate records of their evil slave deeds. It's just like, this is ridiculous.
I know. Right?
Yeah. So Dave Chappelle skit inserted here. So seriously, Shelby. I thought R. Kelly was into Waterworks. Speaking of Waterworks, what is the deal with this weird, not lube, what is it called? Baby oil. What is the deal with this weird baby oil stuff? When I used to do human trafficking trainings to different types of law enforcement, we would talk about paraphernalia. And some of the paraphernalia for the sex trade, it's weird, but some of the paraphernalia for the sex trade is just an unreasonable amount of lube. Just... No shame. Anyone who's an adult, consenting, whatever, and you need enhancements or whatever, no shame. The marriage bed is undefiled. But when there are copious amounts of lube, and particularly, I don't know if you guys even know this because you're probably not human traffickers, but they make these little individual pleasure packets, if you will, that are like one-time use, like, like tear off and like. Anyway, you see those, I'm like, you're going to jail. If I'm in the hotel and I see those, I'm like, I know what's going on here. Anyway, what is the deal with PD? Baby oil was not on my radar. It just wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine his parties, using for his parties in whatever capacity, in what way, I have no idea. I don't
understand. I might be the only black person what do you use baby oil for? Other than taking like modeling pictures to make you look glistening. What
I imagine, I mean, it makes your skin softer, but I imagine it's
does
probably,
it?
yeah.
What? But why not lotion? Because it's so
Well,
shiny and slippery.
I mean, I think lotion is probably a better option, but yeah, you can use baby oil for stuff like that. But I imagine, I don't want to imagine. I don't want to know why he was using all of that baby oil. Like, I'm sure it had something to do with his parties and dumping it all over people that were on top of each other and doing weird things. So
Samantha's innocence is slowly being destroyed here.
I will defend it with my honor.
Baby oil and Ditos. Look, maybe this is a black thing. I know that black people use baby oil. For what purpose, though, is what I'm asking, because I really don't know.
And you have to separate it from, like, what do normal people use baby oil for, and what would P. Diddy use baby oil for? Like, that's where I don't want to go, because, I can think of, I use it on my skin occasionally. I haven't used it in a long time because it is, like, it's greasy. I don't like it, but that's kind of what people use it for. But I'm like, as for what P. Diddy was using it for, I'm sure he's got his own other, like, that imagination, I'm sure, can come up with a whole number of things that I just don't want to know about.
I want to get out of here. I don't mean to extend the show. I want to be in bed I'm already wearing slippers and basically pajamas, but there's some weirdness to the P. Diddy thing, because I watched this like documentary on Hulu, and then I realized that there are like 10 documentaries about this P. Diddy thing, and they're like brilliantly cinematically captured, and they're these scripts and these witnesses and stuff. And I'm just like, did they make all of this stuff like before the indictment came out? Because it's just a little bit weird that within 72 hours of this thing going down, there are these fully, like, all of the Hollywood stops being pulled out productions. So that's a little bit weird. But it's also weird that there are dozens of people coming out of the woodwork who had close knowledge of this man saying, you're supposed to say, I had no idea. I can't believe that such and such would ever do this. There are people coming out. That. Everyone's like, I told y'all, I knew. So then you're just letting him operate with impunity. When it was Weinstein, whatever his name's turn, people were trying to make an effort to be like, we had no idea. But with P. Diddy, everyone's like, yeah, I went to them parties. I knew what was going on. And you did nothing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and some of the things that I have heard people talk about that he did to women, children, even men, like, the fact that people knew that this was going on, and it's been decades, like, it just makes me sick to my stomach. And I hope Hollywood burns for this. I hope they all go down, all of them, because they deserve it.
Don't threaten me with a good time. We'll downsize the bread and circuses. Grid, get out of here. Grid's trolling here. Oh, I lost the comment. Yeah, I think Grid's trolling you. He says, Samantha should do a show tomorrow night, and let's talk feminism and other topics. So.
We'll see. It's been a long week.
Yeah, I'm not doing any shows tomorrow. Oh, shoot. Yes, I am. Oh, man. I have a debate tomorrow at 12. It's going to be a good time. Here, actually, if you guys could be so kind. Oh my gosh, why is it so freaking zoomed in? F politics. Well, Patrick Bet David, I have to agree. Yeah, go and check out the show tomorrow at noon. So that's 12 p.m. Eastern time. I'm debating friend of a fan of the show, Aiden, who's going to be arguing for communism. I will be arguing against communism. And it's going to be a good time. So check that out. It'll be 12 to 1 tomorrow. I will be sick, but I'll still be giving it the old college try. You missed an amazing show on CT. I heard that Linwood is like secretly into white women, but now he acts like a black supremacist. So I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. I'm not going to lie. Sounds like Joe needs bourbon. I'm actually not going to do bourbon tonight because I'm just going to do tea and honey. the Verp heads are hacking me. They probably are. They're like, he knows too much. Wow. Why is Joe lagging? Oh man, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. If I didn't get to your comment, it's because there are a lot of comments, and what do you expect? I'm black. You should be happy that I can read and use the internet. And if that doesn't make you happy, then shame on you.
I can't think of anything else that I would rather be celebrating than Joe's ability to read and use the internet.
Yeah, and I have a driver's license, and I can find the DMV and the polling place.
That's
so
amazing.
many offensive things come out of the mouths of liberals. I also have an attorney and a CPA. This is freaking ridiculous. Anyway, it's 2024. Got a clue, folks. All right. Like, share, subscribe to the show. Subscribe to Outspoken Samantha on the YouTubes, on the Rumble. Samantha, let's just do, I work from home a ton. Let's just do a call. I can show you how to do the Rumble thing. I'll tell you, it'll piss you off sometimes because you'll connect it and then Rumble will freaking screw up, which is kind of why you have to multi-stream, because Rumble screws up a lot.
Awesome.
What else? Become a member. There is not a members only show tonight because I'm going to be sleeping or watching CT's thing in bed. But it's thejomobleyshow.com/join. It's $5 a month. You get the shirt, you get the mug back here. I realize that there are a lot of people hating on Steven Crowder. I don't care. We can disagree about things. It's whatever. He does do a lot of crappy things. But so do I. And presumably so does Samantha. I have no idea. We're just people here.
Yeah, we're humans. It's fine.
As Grid pointed out, and I just completely didn't even think about it, you can't super chat on YouTube, guys, because I don't have enough subscribers for you to super chat on YouTube. My account's not monetized. So if you want to donate to support the show, you could do it on Stripe. There's a donate thing right in the description, or like all black people, you can use Cash App. It's the Joe Mobley on Cash App, and the link is below as well. And it's true. If I'm going to buy secondhand materials, if I'm going to get a dresser or something, if a white person shows up, I'm like, it's going to be Venmo, maybe PayPal. If it's a black person, Cash App. 10 out of 10 times without exception. I don't know why. I don't know why it's this way, but it's this way. And so if you're white out there and you use Cash App, then you're a real one. And if you're black out there and you use Venmo, then you're probably successful. So yeah, there's no other way to say it. Samantha, do you have anything?
Nope. Just be sure to go over to my channels on Rumble and YouTube and subscribe. Outspoken Samantha. I try to upload pretty frequently, just talk about whatever is going on and whatever's going up in flames these days. Yeah, so just go follow. I do a live stream every Wednesday morning, and I love all the new subscribers. It's been fun.
Imperious, I don't like soda at all. So no. Good night, guys. Have a good one.